should be a fantastic stream. Oh Lord. Oh, this should be a fantastic stream. Oh Lord. Welcome to the person. Yes, we are live. Let me make sure everything sounds great from the audio. Yeah, sounding great. How are we doing today? Yes, the Champions League quarterfinal fixtures were out yesterday, and we've all seen it. So we're going to go now do a little review about all the fixtures. We know the main topic will be around discussing Bayern, Arsenal versus Bayern, but we'll go around all the other fixtures. So let me put the slide on the screen. Guys, do me that kind favor by striking the like button. Very, very important for this stream. Please do that. Subscribe if you're watching the playback and you enjoy the content. Consider subscribing, very, very important. And do not forget to turn on the notification bell. Very, very, very important as well. So let's put the fixtures on the screen. There we go. We have Arsenal versus Bayern, Atletico Diabolical Football versus Dortmund. We have Real Madrid Heritage versus newcomers Manchester City. They have Paris Saint-Germain versus Barcelona, a dying Barcelona. So, which team to make it to the semi-finals out of these 8, right? So the discourse has been around, Arsenal doesn't have the heritage, Bayern has no heritage. But the major thing people are leaving out of this conversation is the fact that Bayern are not the Bayern of old. They are not the same anymore. Now, let's go to Atletico Madrid. Atletico Madrid, they're a very stubborn team to defeat. Ultra defensive. We know the Simone likes to frustrate, likes to introduce shittery to his game. How will Dortmund survive playing Atletico Madrid? That's another fixture we'll talk about. Then we have Champions League heritage versus Champions League newcomers. That is Madrid versus City. They played each other last season. City got the better of Madrid. This time, will it be revenge time for Madrid, or will City actually continue their dominance of this competition? We'll find out. Then there's Paris Saint-Germain, the perennial underachievers, versus a dying Barcelona. Who will actually survive this fixture? Will it be Barcelona, or will Paris Saint-Germain or Kylian Mbappe for the last time? Because we know he's leaving Paris Saint-Germain. Will he actually try and win the competition for Barcelona by qualifying them for the semi-finals? We'll find out. So let's start with Paris Saint-Germain versus Barcelona. Now, on paper, both teams are evil Stevens to me, because we know Paris Saint-Germain, they are always fluctuating. You can never tell the kind of Paris Saint-Germain that will come out and play. And Barcelona, for the last few years, are going through a bit of financial crisis, leadership crisis. The players are not as quality as they used to be before. So that is a very, very tough one. I'm looking at Paris Saint-Germain. They've brought in a few players that are hardworking. Even though we know Mbappe will not do the hard yards for the team, but he has the quality. He's a world-class striker or forward, whether we like it or not. He might be annoying. He might come with a lot of shenanigans. He might come with a lot of, what will I call it, baggage, but the quality is always there. You cannot say Mbappe is not a quality player. He's a very quality forward. So I'm looking at this fixture and I'm like, who will actually go through? Barca, even though they beat Napoli in their last game, they are not the Barca of old. They don't have that stardust they used to have when they had the likes of Messi, Neymar, David Villa. They don't have that stardust anymore. They have a Lewandowski that is a geriatric. He's on his last legs. They have the young midfielders who are not striding like the way a lot of people were projecting them to stride. Defensively, they are not solid. In midfield, they're very average, and attacking wise, Rafinha has not been Rafinha that we're hoping to be. So Barcelona are going through it a little bit. So if you look at it critically, I will give an edge to Paris Saint-Germain. I would definitely give an edge to Paris Saint-Germain, because I don't think this Barcelona is as strong as a lot of people are proposing. The brand name Barcelona still strikes fear into a lot of people. But at the moment, I did the Barcelona that people used to fear before. Nah, they're not saying Barcelona anymore. So I think I'll urge you to Paris Saint-Germain to actually uh, qualify to the semi-final. So Atletico Madrid versus Borussia Dortmund. We know the Borussia Dortmund, the German team, who like to play with a lot of freedom and flair, like to run. They are not defensively astute. Offensively, they are average. And I'm looking at this, I'm like, Atletico are very difficult to beat. They'll be very difficult to beat. They might not have the striker, the striking instinct of the kind of striker they had in the past, but we know Atletico Madrid will give any and everybody a game. Atletico Madrid will give you a game. And I'm looking at Dortmund. Do they have the street smartness to deal with the likes of Atletico Madrid? I don't think so. They are too exuberant as a team. They are youthful. They like to just play forward, gung ho, trying to attack, trying to please, trying to add flair, which is fine. But when it comes to cup competitions, you have to be very pragmatic. You have to be result oriented as much as you want to entertain, right? You want to be result oriented as much as you want to entertain. And I'm looking at the street smartness, the fact that Atletico Madrid will be tight at the back. And I'm looking at it, I'm saying, there's no chance for Dortmund to actually progress. I think Atletico Madrid will progress out of that fixture. Now, Real Madrid versus Man City. That for me, that's one of the biggest fixture of this quarterfinal fixture. We know last year, Man City actually ousted Real Madrid. This time, the Real Madrid team is a bit younger, but they don't have that star dust of a star striker like the ones had when they had Benzema. They still have Vinicius Junior, they have Rodrigo, they have a decent striker in Jose Lu. But facing all I call an efficient team like Man City, no matter the heritage Madrid might have, I don't think that's enough for them to just easily, I'm not saying they can't easily dispatch Man City. Man City is a solid team. Now, I will admit, Man City are not as solid as they were last season when they are like Mahrez, Gundogan, Laporte. Man City are not as solid as that. People are just projecting what they did last year, winning a treble, the way they outplayed, outfoxed, outtaught, outwitted, outsmarted Madrid in the last year's Champions League. That's fine, but they are not the same Man City at this moment. Even though Kyle Walker has gone a bit older, we saw against Liverpool in the Premier League how Luis Diaz was ripping, rinsing, and washing Kyle Walker like he wanted to do. So I'm looking at the matchup between Kyle Walker and Vinicius Junior. Should be very interesting, a battle to watch. I'm looking at Rodrigo, who can be a star ball and a star player at a given time. I'm looking at midfield, Jude. We'll find out whether Jude is that guy that people have been raving about. Even though I rate him, but I don't rate him as high as much as the mainstream and some of people are pushing Jude. I think he's a decent player, but not that world-class tag people are putting on his neck. I don't think he's a world-class midfielder. They will see like of Tchouameni. Now, defensively, Rodrigo, what's his name? Rudiger, Militao versus the attacking threat of Holland. We've seen that Holland is, how do I put it? Haaland is not that player that a lot of people are thinking he is. Now, he's a fantastic goal scorer, but when he's not being supplied, he's a bit useless. Or when he meets great or good, very good defenders, he struggles. We've seen it in the league. But if you're playing against the lower league defenders, where he can bully them easily, he can run across them easily, fine. But when I go to meet the likes of experienced cats, experienced campaigners like Rudiger, experienced campaigners like Militao, that is a different kettle of fish. Experienced campaigners like Alaba, Cadaver, what was his name? How am I struggling to pronounce the right back's name? That's a different kind of kettle of fish. Now, slightly, I'll still give it to Man City to progress and edge it over Real Madrid, but it's not that clear. And I would still not be surprised if Real Madrid beat Man City because of their experience and the quality. Now, they don't have the excellent quality they used to have before, which is fine. But on a good day, Rodrigo and Vinicius Juniors can hurt any team. They are quality players that can hurt any team. And I'm looking at the defensive setup of Man City, where Pep's always chopping and changing. Today is Stones, tomorrow is Diaz, is Akonji. There is no set in stone center half pairing or defensive pairing for Manchester City, always chopping and changing. Now, on the long term, it looks great and it sounds great that you can chop and change and still get results. But in the long term, when you play quality teams, that chink is exposed. So it's a difficult one for me to call straight up. Very difficult for me to call straight up because it's a very tight one. Madrid against Man City will be a very tight one. If you push me to make a final decision regarding this fixture, I still think Man City over 2 legs are just a shade stronger than the current setup of Real Madrid because of the Real Madrid don't have that killer striker. Jesus is doing a good job. Jude Bellingham can score from the midfield. Vinicius Junior will give you a few goals. Rodrigo can give you a few goals. But that star striker that they had when they had the likes of Benzema or Stafford, when they had the likes of Ronaldo were scoring goals or Bill, they don't have that quality in their ranks at the moment. So that's why I will give it to Man City, because on a good day, Haaland, if you provide for him, supplying if De Bruyne is functioning well and providing those quality passes for Haaland, if Bernardo Silva is having a game with like providing those supplies for Haaland, he will score goals. But if you want Haaland to involved in the play, that is not his game. He cannot involve in the play, he cannot link up play. But if you run into the channels and you're supplying those crosses, those passes, they run a spamming balls to him, Haaland will cook. So that's why I will give you the shade to Man City to edge Real Madrid. It's extremely marginal. It's extremely marginal because I just think that fixture, home and away, will be very tight for both teams, for Madrid and for Man City. So let's go to the final one I'll be reviewing, which is Arsenal versus Bayern. A lot of people are still stuck on stupid. Yeah, I say a lot of people are stuck on stupid because, Bayern used to beat you guys 5-1, 7. And that's factual. Yes, Bayern used to embarrass us a while ago, beat us mercilessly. Those days, they had better players, better managers than us, and which is fine, and I understand that. But this time, Bayern are not the same. See, get out of your head. I understand opposition fans using it as a throw tool, using it as banter, low quality banter. I get, but when Arsenal fans are still like, Bayern are not the same. Bayern are not the same. Like, you do a combined 11. How many Bayern players will make a combined 11 of Arsenal versus Bayern? How many Bayern players? Aside from Harry Kane, I'm not taking any Bayern player defensively, midfield-wise. I am not taking any Bayern player into our team. So let's stop projecting what happened in the past and try to superimpose it in what is happening right now. Bayern right now are not that team. They used to be that team. They've won the Champions League, they've not won the Champions League. But at the moment, Bayern on that team. Shout out to Mateo Simpson. Says revenge is what I want. Sure, a lot of Arsenal fans want revenge, which is true. The time Bayern had the upper hand, they had the better players. They actually tore us to shreds. Bayern obliterated us. They blitzed us. They made us feel useless. They were battered, were bruised. Like I said, were obliterated, were stifled. Bayern embarrassed Arsenal those days because we didn't have a quality of players to match up with them, which is fair. But now that we have a better team, a better squad than Bayern, if possible, I want a 5-1-2, home and away. If possible, I'm not saying we should be full of rage, trying to get revenge at all costs and leave ourselves vulnerable. Let's be sensible, right? Let's be sensible. But I still think, like I support Matthew Simpson's suggestion. I want revenge. Revenge is edging out Bayern out of the quarterfinals. Revenge is beating them properly at the Emirates when they come there in the first leg. We know their fans will not be allowed into the stadium because of the crowd trouble they caused against Lazio. Revenge is after beating them properly at the Emirates, go to the Allianz Arena, aka the Fraudulence Arena, and beat them properly. That's it. We have a superior defense, superior midfield, superior attack, in my opinion. So why can't we beat this Bayern team? Don't be gaslit by the opposition fan telling you, it's still Bayern. Champions League heritage. Champions League heritage, my behind. Champions League heritage, my behind. They are not the same Bayern anymore. They're the same Bayern. They are not the same Bayern. I understand 7 years ago, look at the quality of players they had now. Martinez, Thiago. Bayern starting 11 was far, far superior to our starting 11. Bayern squad was far, far superior to our squad. So I understand those days it was easy for them to actually beat us. But if you look at the squad of both teams right now, look at the Arsenal squad. Now, I was scouting through some content yesterday. I must say people are saying, "Oh, Arsenal are conceding goals defensively in the Champions League." What Champions League are you watching? Because this year's Champions League, Arsenal has considered the least goals among all the teams. The least goals. About that, Arsenal have considered the least chances. So where is this falsehood, this hyperbole being pushed, and nobody's pushing back? That Arsenal have considered so many goals. No, Arsenal have, the highest number of goals considered was against what's the team we played in France? We played a team in France. I've forgotten the name during the group stage where we got there late because of we had flight trouble. Just 2 goals. Arsenal are yet to concede at home in the Champions League, but yes, people are spouting absolute garbage about Arsenal being a third weak defensively, which is crazy. Both in the Champions League and both in the league, Arsenal are defensively solid. So let's stop it. Let's not push projections and lies and hyperboles because it sells faster than the truth. Like, no. Aesthetically, Arsenal are defensively better. In terms of the start, Arsenal are still superior. So where is this nonsense coming from? Shout out to you, BGD. We should be able to beat them. It's not going to be easy, but we have a great chance. For me, we have more than a great chance. I'm not just pushing this notion. It's not a narrative. It's a real notion because of the quality of our squad. We have more than a great chance. Now, and this can happen in football. On a bad day, you can get beaten. On a bad day, when the referees are acting funny, right? Things are happening. This is Europe. The refereeing in Europe is kind of a subtle to lenient. Hence, I understand the fact that Teta had decided to play more pragmatic and more sensibly in Europe. If you notice, we are not playing with same ferocity and intensity we play in the Premier League as we are playing in Europe. We are not the same thing. We are a bit more controlled because the narrative of the opposition fans was like, "Oh, you guys did not blitz Porto." Don't be silly. That's a silly narrative to push. You can't go and blitz Porto because if you watch both legs, away, even though we lost, the goal they scored at the last minute changed the analysis and the complex of the game. If that game had ended 0-0, the disrespect, the bad fitted analysis, a lot of the pundits and the content creators were pushing, they wouldn't have found a way to push that. We lost that game in the last minute with that quality strike from Gilano. The quality strike. How many chances did Porto create in the first leg? None. You can't go gongo in Europe. And if you let's not forget, the officiating in the first leg was poor. That referee was piss poor. We couldn't mark or apply the intensity we applied. That's why I like the way we played second half. We didn't go gung-ho because Porto were laying traps. They can play out of the back. They can play out of presses. They're a smart team. So do not fall for the bad fitted analysis of the opposition fans trying to gaslight you into, oh, Arsenal are not playing well. Arsenal are playing well and being sensible. Wenger did the same thing. That's why Arsenal were yet to, even with the Invincibles, we couldn't win the Champions League because we wanted to apply how we played in Premier League to how we play in Europe. And there are two different competitions. It doesn't work that way. Shout out to Arteta, very fast learner, very, very smart as a manager who has caught up with the fact that even though this is his first rodeo and gig as a European manager, you cannot play the same way you play in your league and the same way in Europe because the refereeing is different. The intensity level that is acceptable subconsciously is different. So we have to be more smart, street smart, wise in how we deploy ourselves in Europe. So Martel simply says Real Madrid versus Man City is our motivation. What do you mean is our motivation? I'd like you to actually expand on that. We are the best team in Europe. We look like the best team on current form. Yeah, I can agree on current form. We are the best in Europe. But we need to support that notion with winning of trophies too. As much as I'm an Arsenal fan and I support Mikel Arteta and the team, we need to actually put a trophy to back up our claims. And hopefully we can pick up 1 or 2 trophies before the end of the season. That will actually make it very fantastic. But on current form, I actually agree with you. Absolutely, on current form, we are the best in Europe defensively and attack-wise, scoring goals for fun, defending well, not conceding chances. I agree with you. We are the best team in Europe on current form. Arteta versus Tuchel. Tuchel for me, I used to rate him when he was at Chelsea because of the Champions League he won, even though I did not understand his footballing ideology or philosophy. But the more I see him at Bayern, I shout out to Mr. Efusa for calling it out and calling to my attention that this guy is looking like a fraud. There is no set in stone ideology or formation. You don't know whether he wants to be overly pragmatic or want to be overly progressive. He's just a yo-yo kind of manager. The talent ID and the quality of players and acquisition are very suspicious. So I'm looking at Tuchel sideways like, yes, you might have won the Champions League, but your footballing ideology and philosophy are looking like very kind of funny and smelly. They are looking very funny and smelly. So I just think we have a solid team, and Arteta can outsmart Tuchel. He has done it in the league when Tuchel was the manager of Chelsea. We beat them in the league very comfortably beat them in the league. And even in the preseason, we took a Mickey out of them. So it's not his first time that Arteta will be actually accosting Tuchel in football terms. So I expect Arteta to continue to dominate Tuchel footballing wise. So I am not expecting any kind of surprises. Like I said, it's not impossible for Bayern to dump us out, but it's not probable based on the metric I've just mentioned. I don't think it's probable. I just think we're a superior team to Bayern at the moment. Technically, footballing wise, aesthetically, player size, enough as if you remember closely, even in the transfer window, right? They wanted Timber, we got him. They wanted Kai, we got him. They wanted Declan Rice, we got him. It shows the paradigm shift of power from Bayern to Arsenal. There is no player Arsenal cannot acquire these days. Maybe aside from Mbappe, who is fixated in going to Real Madrid, and I won't want him at Arsenal because of the baggage he comes with and the shenanigans. But aside from that, we can match anything for wage for wages, transfer fee for transfer fee these days. The Kroenkes are supporting and backing the team financially. So Arsenal is a big team right now. We're acting like one. We are doing like one. We are playing like one. So he's looking great at Arsenal at the moment. And this fixture against Bayern should actually give us usher us into another new dispensation of Arsenal, because there's still this skepticism around Arsenal fans saying, "Are we sure?" Like, you can say it before you. The trophies will follow. I am very confident the trophies will follow. You can even see that the players are buying into the Arteta project, signing new contract. 2 days ago, Ben White just signed a new improved long-term contract with the team. It shows in their buying the team into the project. Saliba signed his contract last season. Gabriel, Odegaard, Saka, Martinelli. The team is flourishing. The team is moving forward. I have nothing to fear. I remember 2 years ago when Arsenal fans wanted Gnabry, wanted Sane. I'm sure those sentiments have changed. I am sure those sentiments have changed. Do you guys still want Gnabry over Saka, Martinelli, or do you want Sane? So, guys, things are moving forward. I understand a lot of us are scarred from the past with what the Kroenkes did when they were not investing into the team. We are scarred from the results we've had in the past, but look at what is happening at the present. And I'm so excited for the future of Arsenal. I like the quality of players we have. I like the way we are moving the ball. We are playing on the pitch. I like the temperaments of Mikel Arteta. So I'm happy. I am very happy with the team. Let me look at this chart. Double incoming. Okay. They're taking Champions League history. Look at Champions League records. Okay. Matthew says we can still win the Champions League. Definitely we can still win Champions League. We can still win Champions League. Matthias Simpson, Wenger ruled the Champions League. I don't understand. Wenger did not even win it. How can you say Wenger ruled the Champions League when we didn't win it? I like, as a Wenger, I like him. He actually moved the club from obscurity to notoriety, which is fine. But Wenger had his own mistakes too. The Invincible team was good enough to have won the Champions League, but our application at that time did not work in Europe. Hence, we didn't win the Champions League. Even when we qualified for the final in 2026, that we lost to Barca. Like, there are a few things you should have done better, but it is what it is. I would never deride or disrespect Arsene Wenger, but we can learn from the mistakes he made. And I'm seeing Mikel Arteta is actually, for me, learning very quickly, adapting very quickly, which is a strong trait you want in your manager, who can adapt and learn as quick as possible. And I'm seeing those traits very visibly. 20 years in a row. Yeah, that's not rolling. Even though we were in the Champions League 20 years in a row, we didn't win it. See, I love Arsenal. I'm an Arsenal fan, but I can still be objective. I'm not going to delude myself. Yes, 20 years in a row, but did we win it? No, I'm not casting aspersions on the team. I'm just saying, even though we're there 20 years in a row, we didn't win it. And that's a fair criticism from the opposition fans to throw at us. And we just have to just take it on board and try and do better. So it was there 20 years in a row, but unfortunately, we did not make enough impression, enough impact, or win the Champions League. Shout out to you, Begide. Do we still need a striker next season? Who do you think will fit? Is Garcia a good buy? Yeah, I think we need a striker. I think so. I think so. Uh, I still prefer personally. Maybe a lot of people might not like that. I still personally prefer Sesko to Garcia. The Garcia guy, I've watched him, but I'm not really convinced because for me, strikers are hit and miss because there's no clear world class strikers in the market. Aside from Hurricane, let's not delude ourselves. There's no clear world class striker in the market, so you have to buy a striker or player that even if the goals are not there, they can play well with the team. They're collaborative enough that can play well with the team. So I like Sesko, good striker, can play well with the team, good pace, good height, can link on play, can play on the left, on the right, through the middle, can draw out players, can dribble out of tight spaces. So I like certain traits in my players, and I even like the way Arteta selects players. You have to be technically gifted, not just pace and power. Pace and power is fantastic, but you need technical ability, flair, movement to actually complement you because just pace and power, if you meet a matching defender that has pace and power, you're clueless. So you need players that, even though when you're not scoring, they are providing other values to the team. Look at Rashford. This is not me trying to disrespect to Manchester United fans and their players. If Rashford is not scoring, it's useless. You don't want a striker that, if you are not scoring, is useless. That's why the Ivan Toney narrative was so funny to me. Like, we are not Brighton. We're not Brentford. We're not Chelsea, because Chelsea will buy anything. We're Arsenal trying to compete with the European elite. You don't buy a striker that, if they are not scoring, they are totally useless. Now, you don't want that. So the Garcia guy, I understand your opinion. It's yours, and I respect it. I'm not overly convinced. So that's why I say I would prefer Sesko because he's a more of a collaborative player that if he's not scoring, they are still providing tangible value to the team. So that's why I prefer Sesko to any other striking option. Now, that is not for me to choose. If Arteta tries to go for Garcia and he thinks it will work, I respect that. I'm not the manager. My opinion is that I'll prefer Sesko, who is a young player, a collaborative striker who can do things even though when you're not scoring. Now, it doesn't mean I do not demand my strikers to score. Definitely, I want my strikers to score. Jesus is not the most prolific striker. Even Kai Havertz, we love him. He's not the most prolific striker. But when they are not scoring, they are providing tangible values to the team, right? They are linking up play. They are doing a defensive shift. They are technical enough to move the ball around. So those are kind of players I would prefer personally. And shout out to you, Begide, for that. Arsenal have more Champions League wins than PSG and Atleti. I don't understand why everyone hits. Because people like to engage in tasteless and mindless banter. And it's unfortunate the Arsenal fans with the big platforms are doing that because it provides more traction. Instead of them to discuss the truth, we're not doing mindless banter. Banter is supposed to be comical and witty, but what they are doing is not called banter. It's just hate and low quality, low IQ conversations. Because Arsenal, like you said, Arsenal have more Champions League wins than PSG and Athletic, but somehow we're going to deride Arsenal because Arsenal are supposed are the proverbial banter club, right? Even the mainstream, they do it. Arsenal are the proverbial banter club, so Arsenal might be stuck in their head. They can't get around the fact that Arsenal is not a good thing. Arsenal to be stuck on that banter era forever. So it's for Arsenal fans like you and I to push back on those narratives and say, no, you are not going to deride us. You are not going to continue to put us in a box where we do not belong and push back on the narrative. That's what we have to do as Arsenal fans, not accept the bullshit. Do you think we should rate London teams in the transfer market? If they have quality, for me, they have quality. Why don't we did that to Chelsea? We took their best player, even though they say, "Oh, he's a donkey. Oh, he's a donkey playing Timberland boots." Who is not crying? Chelsea fans are not crying now. Some of them will still be stuck on stupid. stuck in their delusion and saying, no, he's not. Kai Havertz is not doing well. The numbers bear it out. The numbers bear it out. The performances bear it out that Kai Havertz is a fantastic player. If you check my library, check my video, you will never see me when I banter Kai Havertz. Even at Chelsea, he's a good player. He was just playing among shy players. See, no matter how good you are, if you are involved in collaboration with idiots, before you know, you become that idiot too. He was just playing a bad team, a team that was badly coached. So I'm not surprised. He came to a superior team, and he's doing well. So that it is what it is. Crystal Palace has ballers. What ballers are in Crystal Palace? Let me know. Mention them. Eze. I don't think Eze is that baller you think he is. See, I'll give you an example. Like the Paul Palmer. I like Paul Palmer. I think he's a good player. But the way Chelsea fans rave about him is bullshit. See, Paul Palmer is standing out because the Chelsea team is full of crap. So definitely he will stand out like a man with astigmatism in the line of the blind. He will look like the best thing they have. So for Eze and Olise, both of them, number one, they're injury prone. You don't want to bring injury prone to our team. Let me give you an example. So let's point out something that a lot of us don't point out this time. Kai Havertz and Declan Rice that we bought in the summer, right? What are they providing aside from quality? Availability. I don't care how great you are. If your availability is shocking, you see, the reason why we are not missing Partey and we didn't miss Jesus this season are two players, Kai Havertz and Rice. If we don't have those two players, we will be in trouble. Trust me, we'll be in trouble. So even if you are looking at players, I'm sure the recruitment team, when they're looking at players, are considering that very heavily. You do not just want quality in terms of just season. These players are fantastic. You want them to be available for at least 40 games, 38 games, both in a league and a Champions League, the Carling Cup. You want players that are available. So it's very imperative that before buying players, no matter their quality, you want availability. I like Neto. I would love Arsenal to consider Neto, but right now, hell no. He's pulling hamstring, like pulling hamburgers every week. Like, no. So, Crystal Palace, the AZ and the Olise guy, good on the eye, decent players. I don't think they are fantastic like that, but they are good players. I'll consider them having them in my team. But based on the price Crystal Palace will be asking for and the availability, I don't think Arsenal should go near there. AZ is always injured. Olise is always injured. So those are the two ballers I see at Crystal Palace. Unless you're talking about McGay, the defender. Guy, he won't even get into the second string of our defensive unit right now because Arsenal have a lot of quality defenders in our ranks. So those two ballers in Olise and Eze, they are too injury prone. So we already are struggling with Partey, who is injury prone in our team. Zinchenko in and out in our team. Jesus is almost entering that conversation of injury prone. Then you know how to bring in another injury prone players. I don't think it's fair to actually do that to our team. Fulham and Brentford too. Fulham, I don't think they have any player I would consider at Arsenal. And Brentford, Ivan Toney. You mean Ivan Toney? I'm sorry, I'm not considering him. I will not consider Ivan Toney at Arsenal. He's not good enough. Modric, yeah, I still like Modric. I'll consider Modric. I think if it comes to Arsenal and play in our system and get the coaching that Mikel Arteta and the coaching style gives, Modric could be a much more better player than what is you seeing at Chelsea. Chelsea kills talent. We've seen it. There's evidence to it. Chelsea would deride your talent. So Modric is not as horrible. I know Arsenal fans say we dodged the bullet. I do not support that conversation that Arsenal dodged the bullet. Now, right now, Modric is not looking great. And I can get 100%. But there are mitigating factors to that, which is playing for a dead team like Chelsea rather. So I don't think I'm not going to subscribe to Modric is a bomb. He's playing in a dead Chelsea team. We have Pochettino who doesn't know what he's doing. Yes, he had a great time at Spurs. See, two things can be right. Now, he was lucky with the crop of players he met at Spurs. And let's not forget, there was no pressure at Spurs at that time. So people take away the context of how Pochettino did at Spurs. That time, they had a litany of very young, progressive, quality players, number one. There was no pressure on him to do what he was doing at that time. So it's easy. See, it's very easy to play without no pressure. Very, very easy because the expectations are not there. So you can be more adventurous, you can be more daring and audacious, and you can do more things. But when there's pressure, people are expecting certain results, people are expecting certain consistency, then your real character shows. And we are seeing that at PSG, he lost the league before he won the league. Everybody's winning the league at PSG. We see it at Chelsea now. He's struggling because people the mantra, the narrative was that Pochettino is great with young players. That's the narrative. That Pochettino is great with young players. There are young players at Chelsea at the moment. Why are you struggling? Why is he struggling? £1 billion worth of young, supposedly progressive players. Why is he struggling? Because he's not great at young players. The Spurs experiment, the Spurs gig, it was right timing, right place, right players at that time. At that time. Now, I'm not saying it's also his fault that he has a mismatch of his squad at Chelsea, but he saw the squad and it's okay. So it is what it is. Modric is coming to Arsenal. I don't think Chelsea will want to sell a player to Arsenal at this moment. We saw how Man City regretted selling Jesus and Zinchenko and said they might never do business with us regarding player recruitment. And I think Chelsea will actually share in that sentiment. I don't think Chelsea, after seeing the Kai Havertz gaff, will want to sell another player to us. That's the fact. I don't think Chelsea will want to sell another player to us. I would love for us to go and take Modric from Chelsea to add to our what would be the right time to give us a bit of a depth in the wings, right? I like us to go and get Modric as a pace. All it needs is a bit of refining from the coaching staff. Arteta can do that they will refine Modric. Even remember when we bought Martinelli too, it was kind of raw. He couldn't overly control himself until Arteta actually took him out of the team and they worked on him. And even though Martinelli needs a bit of more maturity, but you can see that he's now a better player compared to when he came to the club. So with Modric, with a bit of Arteta and the coaching staff talking to him, helping him, he will do better at Arsenal than Chelsea. But I doubt heavily if Chelsea will consider doing that kind of business with us after seeing the Kai Havertz issue. I don't think they want to that business with us at the moment. That's my personal feeling. But things could change. You don't know. These guys, money can change hands and they might soften their resistance or stance on doing business with us. But right now, I don't think they'll consider it because they know the outrage of the change. I don't think the executives will not want to do it, but they know the fans' reaction will be kind of unhealthy for the team and the narrative around the team at the moment. So I don't think Chelsea will want to do business with us anytime soon. So, guys, shout out to you guys for joining me this morning and making this interaction great. Shout out to Martel Simpson, BGD, Babatola, shout out to you. Matthew, shout out to you. Shout out to everybody and everyone that has made this interaction very, very interesting. So, do me a favor, guys, strike the like button. Very, very important. If you're watching the playback, you're enjoying the content and you consider striking the like button, consider subscribing, very important. And make sure you turn on your notification bell so when I go live, you can get notifications and on the pre-recorded videos too, you can get notification. Simply says great show. Shout out to you too for making. I didn't make it to be great show myself. Shout out to you guys for making a great show. Shout out to you. So I'll be back later in the day, or if there's any breaking news, any great chat, I'll be back for us to discuss it. Strike a like on the video, subscribe, turn on your notification bell, and I'll see you guys on the next one. So I'll say bye for now.
I don't want to talk right now. I have headache for my head. So tomorrow I'll